and welcome to Hard Copy from our channel's television studios in Abuja. I'm Kayla Magwa. Nigeria's opposition says 2027 is its moment. It says the country is groaning under inflation, insecurity, unemployment, and a cost of living crisis unlike anything seen in decades. It says Nigerians are desperate for an alternative. But while millions are searching for hope, the party that wants to lead that charge is consumed by a battle over itself. The African Democratic Congress is making the headlines not for presenting policies or a vision for Nigeria, but for accusations of infiltration, bitter leadership disputes, competing power blocks, legal battles, and an increasingly public struggle over who owns the soul of the party. This is not just an internal family quarrel. It raises a fundamental question about political credibility. If a party cannot manage its own affairs, enforce its own rules, or resolve its own conflicts, how does it expect Nigerians to believe it can manage a nation of more than 230 million people? Every day spent fighting over party offices is a day not spent fighting for Nigerians. Every public accusation of betrayal chips away at the image of a coalition that promised discipline, unity, and a fresh beginning. The ADC was meant to become the rallying point for a fractured opposition. Instead, it risks becoming another case study in how ambition can overwhelm purpose. The irony is impossible to ignore. The party asking Nigerians to trust it with the presidency is struggling to convince its own members to trust one another. Allegations of hijacking, counter-allegations of exclusion, questions over legitimacy, a scramble for influence before the first vote has even been cast. Is this simply the turbulence of a growing political movement, or are Nigerians witnessing the early stages of another opposition coalition collapsing under the weight of competing egos and presidential ambitions? Tonight on Hard Copy, we ask the questions many Nigerians are asking. Is the ADC truly building a credible alternative or merely assembling a coalition of convenience? Can a party fractured by internal distrust realistically challenge one of the most formidable political machines in Africa? And when the battle for Nigeria begins, will the ADC still be standing, or will it have defeated itself long before voters get the chance to decide? Bolaji Abdullahi, National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, joins us tonight on Hard Copy. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
The multiple cases in court, the idea of picking a Muslim as your presidential candidate. So let's take them one after the other. Some people say the ADC has already lost the election. The fact that you put Atiku as your presidential candidate means you've already lost, because we already have, it's not the turn of the North, it's the turn of the South. No matter how you try to say, oh no, we have to move from this gentleman's agreement. The gentleman's agreement seems to be cast in stone, and I've not seen it change. What do you say to people who say you've lost already?
On that basis?
Yes.
On the basis of which agreement? Where was that agreement drawn? Who sat down to do that agreement? Agreement between who and whom? I think it was just an assumption based on a particular political party's internal arrangement, and that party was PDP. The idea of this North-South is a PDP idea, alien to what they call progressive politics. You know, so sometimes we assume when something has gone on for so long, or when you promote an agenda and you repeat it again and again and again, then people begin to accept it as the truth, as the received wisdom. But it is not true. That is one. Number two is that the way we read it in the African Democratic Congress is Nigeria is in a dire strait. And this is a time, the nation itself is traumatized. We've gone through an experience that we've never gone through in our history at the moment. You know, so what we need is a president with the maturity, with the experience, with the empathy to understand what Nigerians need when a child is traumatized, what you need is someone, not someone who will chastise that child even more. It's someone who will put a hand around its shoulder and say, hang on, this, we know what you've gone through and this is what is possible. And that's why, that's the primary consideration for ADC in deciding who should lead our ticket, not a question of north-south or east or west.
The question about the momentum of the ADC since the departure of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, it's also being talked about. So who are your supporters?
No.
Because it did feel like at the time when Peter Obi and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso were in your party, we could see, okay, these are the people that support. We see the obedience, we see the Kwankwasia. Okay, so but with them gone, who are these articulators? You know, who is your, what's your crowd?
Again, I think there is a fallacy of false parallel here. We are confusing individual supporters with political party supporters. When those two leaders were with us, you probably hear a lot more on the social media and all that. So if you use the social media, to measure the strength of a political party, and don't ignore the fact that if the coalition was diminished by their exit, they also suffered the same thing. They are also not as strong as they should be. So, and that's why we believed from the start, and we still believe it's not too late.
When the ADC was formed and we started seeing these faces,
yeah,
even though there was a criticism, former this and former that, former people everywhere, but when we saw that group, we're like, okay. So we had a high in our emotions. Oh, then a splinter. Then we dropped again. I remember, I think we were saying that before we came here, we've become a country of cynics in many ways. So the idea that, there was a splinter in this and now there's this, made many Nigerians not believe again that the opposition can beat this machine called the APC.
Robert, what machine?
APC is one of the most formidable machines in Africa.
I heard you say that when you were reading your introduction. It is hype. It is hype. And once you repeat this hype again and again and again, people begin to think it is true. It is not, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
If the APC were as confident as they try to project, they have like how many governors? 32 or so governors. Then why are they still chasing opposition all over the place? Why are they still throwing this court case, that court case, this court case? Why are they doing that? Why are they obsessed with the opposition? If they are truly as confident as they should be, they have the governors. So why are they worried about the opposition? That's number one. Number two, we are a national party. NDC is a national party. We are PRP, SDP, and all other opposition political parties. But I can tell you today that there are some things that we can do as a political party in opposition in some parts of this country that the APC cannot do. There are some parts of this country, especially in the north, where you cannot go and campaign for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because the northerners feel that they have borne the brunt of this maladministration more than any other part of the country, whether in terms of insecurity or in terms of poverty or in terms of cost of living and all that. So not even the Malams, the religious leaders that traditionally will tell people where to vote, can say that people should vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So on election day, where everybody will bear his father's name or her father's name, that's where you will see how vulnerable they are.
How many cases are in court?
Maybe two.
Which and which one?
Maybe two. I think only one. Two, yeah, maybe two now. You see, they give the impression that ADC is sinking under the weight of so many cases. So
much litigation.
No.
Tell me if I'm wrong. The leadership challenge against the David Mark-led executive.
The one by Nafi Bala.
Yes.
Yes, that one is still in court.
It's still in court.
Yeah.
The suit over the ADC state congresses. Oh, they said you're actually moving to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, then we're going to the Supreme Court.
So that's the case.
Two.
So two. The ADC leadership dispute before the Supreme Court. So this the legal authority to control the party and whether earlier court decisions affecting leadership should stand.
No, there are only three cases. So the one instituted by Dumebi Kachuko has been postponed till after presidential election.
Okay, so that's
it's
the case.
The one about and I'll tell you, the one about the state, the state congresses.
Yes.
That the Court of Appeal ruled the last time that we had no power to conduct press conference, and that has taken us to Supreme Court. We actually think that is nonsensical because it is not executable, right? Number three is the one of the Nafiu Bala.
What about this one about the National Welfare Secretary, Nkamakola Mokambi?
No, that's his own. He joined the case. It's not ADC. So.
The registration case.
Yeah, the registration case.
The deregistration.
That's the one that the Attorney General has joined us.
Yes.
Has joined to be party to it. Now, all these cases have no consequence for us. We'll continue to push them in court as we have been doing. But you see, where did they come from? Because I listened to your intro, you were talking about a party that cannot manage its own affairs. No, you are blaming the victim. You are blaming the victim. That is wrong.
A lot of these cases are by your party members.
No, but who are the people who could barely afford to eat yesterday hiring 3 senior advocates of Nigeria, 4 senior advocates of Nigeria?
You're saying they're being sponsored?
No, of course they are being sponsored. By the federal government of Nigeria, by the APC. What proof do you need? Didn't you listen to Femi Gbajabiamila telling this Honorable Abejide, this guy from Kogi that defected to their party now? No, don't leave ADC. Stay there and continue to scatter them.
Well, if you were strong,
didn't you hear
President? Your hedges were good. These snakes wouldn't be able to bite you.
No. How do you wake up someone who is pretending to be asleep?
Why is the ADC so infiltratable?
ADC is not infiltratable. In every political party, you have people in APC today that are disgruntled, that are not happy, especially with the way in the aftermath of their primaries. Mm-hmm. But the difference is that there is no government agents and operative that will hijack those people and make them to go to court to continue to cause destabilization within their own political party. At the time that we were joining the ADC, there was no single case in court. Not one. Not one. And that was one of the reasons that took us to the African Democratic Congress. It was the moment the coalition leaders, the opposition leaders moved into the ADC that they began to hunt for people that they could use for this destabilization. In a country like Nigeria and the kind of politics we play, you cannot run out of people to use if you are looking for human beings to use. Many of them who could barely feed themselves are buying properties all over Abuja. So opposing ADC and destabilizing ADC has become a lucrative venture that people are willing to fund and champion and all that. But we're a party that still believe, regardless of everything, we still believe in the institution of the judiciary. Let me call your attention to the fact that the last time we got, if you remember, one of the most popular ruling against us was the one about status quo antebellum. Mm-hmm. When the Court of Appeal said we should go back to status quo antebellum, and the INEC chairman, on the basis of that, precariously registered David Marks and the rest from the INEC portal. And we said that was criminal because that was not what the court ordered. It was wrong. Then we went to the Supreme Court. Now, the appeal court judgment was a unanimous decision of 3 justices of the Court of Appeal. Then we went to the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court unanimously said what? No. Court of Appeal, you don't have that power. You don't have the power to do that. So are you saying that those justices of the Court of Appeal suddenly forgot the law or they no longer know the law? Why would the 3 of them be unanimously wrong? Like to take the Supreme Court to say, no, you are wrong. So you see, some of these things, and that's why I say you are blaming the victim. We have soldiered on in spite of this distraction. We've been able to build a formidable opposition political party. And it's in spite of these legal challenges that we're able to conduct the biggest direct primaries in the history of Nigerian politics. No other political party in Nigeria did what we were able to do in our primaries. Because what the ruling party did with the Electoral Act, they thought that by limiting us to consensus or direct primaries, there will be so much chaos, we'll not be able to do it. But we did it. We did it. They didn't do it. They only forced consensus. They didn't even do congresses to affirm those. I had the national secretary of their party saying the party could just submit anybody's name. That's what we do. The other parties didn't do, we did it. So I think that even if I'm the one saying it, I think the African Democratic Congress has stayed true to democracy. We have ensured, if nothing else, we have achieved we have achieved the fact that Nigeria will not descend into a one-party state. And that's why you and I are having this conversation.
We're going to short break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at how many enemies you're having to deal with as a party, and then also get your take on some national issues. Stay with us on Hard Copy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hard Copy. If you've just joined us, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi is our guest tonight, the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress. Thanks again for being with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Where's your mind when it comes to a coalition? Do you still have one? Are you in talks with the Turaki-led PDP and things like that?
Well, thank you for bringing this up in particular. I mean, if you recall that we went to Ibadan some times ago, and we left Ibadan agreeing that we're going to field a single presidential candidate for the 2027 election. And by the time we left Ibadan, like you rightly noted, the whole country was agog that finally something is going to happen, because Nigerians are looking for something that will rescue them from this season of the locust that we've experienced in the last 3 years. Unfortunately, politics is politics. The moment we left Ibadan, politics happened to us in a manner that we began to ask ourselves where some of these things are orchestrated or premeditated. But where we are today is that the coalition suffered a fracture, and some people left for another political party. But the work of coalition building is still possible. We are still talking. It may not be as we envisaged it originally, but there are still options that we are thinking of, that we are looking at. And whether it's the Turaki-led PDP or the PRP or the SDP or the NDC or the ADC, we still recognize the fact that everyone needs to put, this is the time, if there was ever a time, this is the time that everybody needs to put the country first and subsume their ambition over the larger. Whether it's going to happen, I don't know. But
some will say that's what Atiku should do.
But why only Atiku? Why are you saying that's what Atiku should do?
He's
why
been running constantly?
So what says he
They
cannot?
say the reason why this ADC was formed in the first place, the Atiku Democratic Convention.
But that is not.
They say this is all about him. It's always about him.
That is not true.
Isn't it possible that if he had put his own ambition in the back burner, and maybe he supported Peter Obi or someone else, then we can do this rescue mission.
You see, why do people like to scapegoat someone on the grounds that he has contested several times? The late General Buhari contested several times. So what disqualifies Atiku from contesting?
There's the man for the job, and then there's the man who can win. The question with the ADC and your presidential candidate isn't whether Atiku is qualified or has the right to. Of course he's qualified and has the right to.
So what's the
question is, can he win?
Why not? If he can't win, then tell me who can win against Bola Tinubu. Tell me who can win against Bola Tinubu. The last election.
It looks like no one can.
No.
It looks like no one can.
And I've told you earlier that this President Bola Tinubu will be defeated in 2027. They know. President Bola Tinubu will be defeated in 2027. And you see, when we want to be charitable, we say in a free and fair election. We know you won't get a free and fair election with these people. But we say in spite of that, President Bola Tinubu will lose the election in 2027. And we are convinced that if we want to win this election, and the only person that can help us to win within the state, and that's why majority of our members voted for Atiku Abubakar, is because we are convinced it's Atiku Abubakar that can win this election, and that he stands a better chance. I mean, yes, I agree. If we're able to hold the coalition together, maybe our job will have been easier. By 12 o'clock on election day, it will have been over. Now it's only the fracturing of the opposition only makes it a bit more difficult, but not impossible.
You were responding to the special advisor for the president on political communication, Mr. Daniel Buala. Yes, after that interview. In fact, where he said this is a serious allegation, but he said it had to do with complicity of the military.
He said there are people in the Nigerian military who are complicit in promoting terrorism. people who are bona fide members of the Nigerian armed forces who are aiding and abetting terrorism. That is treason. You don't allege treason lightly. So, because the only consequence of treason is death. For the purpose of argument, if such things actually exist, what we should be hearing, like I said, is that the Nigerian government, the defense intelligence, has arrested this number of soldiers who are aiding and abetting terrorism activities. But for you to come out and be saying those are the kind of things that opposition parties should be saying, because opposition parties don't have the political power to enforce some things. You can't get to play government and play opposition at the same time.
You're asking for an independent probe of the, we don't know, nurse, physiotherapist, we're not sure, the death of either the nurse or physiotherapist at the Minister of Works' residence. What do you mean an independent investigation? You don't trust our investigative agencies?
You see, this Tinubu government is scandal prone to the extent that you just think that there is it's an accident that's constantly waiting to happen. You know, we've not even recovered from the so-called Adeyemi Gbajabiamila scandal. Then this happened. And why we are saying that, we can't trust the ICPC because an average Nigerian today believe, like we've repeatedly maintained, that the President Tinubu presidency, the presidency under President Tinubu, is a nest of corruption and scandal and all kind of bad behavior.
Mr. Mahi says he's going to sue you people that are politicizing a death that he's mourning.
Nobody is politicizing anything. I actually think he's making himself look culpable. You know, when someone is shouting, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, without anybody pressuring. So it actually wonder, if a human being died in your house, and we know the tendencies that these people have, what you should be interested in is something that will clear your name beyond reasonable doubt. What we are calling for is what they should be more interested in than us.
Who is going to do the independent investigation?
The president has the power. He has the convening authority. There are people he can ask the NBA to do. He can identify credible individuals across the country. There is National Human Rights Commission. There are all kinds of agencies and bodies. You can ask them to do it. You know. So, but to say an agency of government should do, I mean, they were not even willing to allow for an autopsy. So, by the time the parents came up to say, no, we just want to bury our daughter, that's not what people are hearing. What people are hearing is that we are being intimidated. We are being pressured not to speak.
He insisted on an autopsy.
Who?
Mr. Umahi.
Ah, well. So why?
He's the one insisting on an autopsy that the family doesn't want it.
You see, Kayla. You can be insisting on autopsy and getting the parents to insist that there will not be autopsy.
You don't have proof.
You know, we don't have proof. I'm saying that it's possible. The fact that he's saying he's insisting on autopsy is not an indication of exoneration. The same thing applies to the issue of Adeyemi thing. So if the
let's because we do have to close on that.
Okay.
How are you viewing the Adeyemi thing, the PFIPC, the investigations going on, there are hearings going on. We saw the head of service, exonerating herself from this matter. Oh, this time we didn't give him the office, we gave it to the SGF. And then, of course, just your view on how it's unfolded. And really, why the focus really was on the chief of staff of the president, when there is a secretary to the government of the federation who has more authority in a case like this. No, but
it was the chief of staff. It was Adeyemi that mentioned the chief of staff. He mentioned the chief of staff. He said he's paid money to the chief of staff. So if he didn't say that, if he hadn't said that, probably people would not have focused on the chief of staff. But the point we've made repeatedly is that there are only two conclusions that could come out of this, regardless of what the government decides to do. One is that there are senior government officials, if not the institution of government itself, that have deliberately been complicit and be part of this crime that has been committed against the Nigerian state. There are people who have aided this for whatever reason that they have done so. So that is one conclusion, which we say an independent investigation will uncover. The second one is to say no one actually conspired with Adeyemi. Adeyemi all by himself carried out this scam. Then it shows that this must be the most incompetent government in Nigerian history. If an individual can penetrate the government at the highest level and actually appoint himself, obtain an office accommodation, open a bank account in the central bank, get a budget in the national budget passed and signed by the president, and actually hosting high-profile events involving the diplomatic communities, and not an alarm went off at any point in this. No one person say, who the heck is this guy? Who is this guy representing? And so it took him saying he gave Femi Gbaja money before all this became a public knowledge.
Had raised an alarm.
No, I'm not saying, this what happened.
He had raised the alarm in October last year.
So when they raised the alarm, the question should be, how did this even happen? I don't want us to reduce this to an individual, the chief of staff. I mean, I'm not defending him. I'm not saying he's guilty or not guilty of anything. But I'm saying that if I were him, I will approach the president and say, look, Mr. President, I want to proceed on leave for the period of this investigation so that no one will think that I have tampered with the investigation or influenced the investigation in any way, because I'm sitting in a position of authority and power. Anyone that cares about his name or his legacy, they should be more interested in this being proved beyond doubt. An average Nigerian does not think that ICPC can prove this case beyond doubt. Now, an average Nigerian believes that an ICPC is affiliated to the government, whether in terms of paying their salaries or promotion or appointment, so they do what government wants them to do. I wouldn't like that if I were him. I would want an independent body to actually say, I am not guilty, that I am not part of this. And so that would be the only thing that would be sufficient to clear my name. If that did not happen, that will still continue to follow him.
Well, we do have to wrap it up there. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, I want to thank you so much for making out the time to speak with us on Hard Copy.
Thank you very much.
Greetings to everyone at the ADC, and good luck with all the engagements I know you have ahead of you.
Thank you very much, Kayla. It's my pleasure.
That's Hard Copy this week. I'm Kayla Megwa. Good night.